Imagine sitting down to dinner and being served a roasted dormouse stuffed with minced pork and pine nuts, alongside a cup of wine cut with seawater. Or, if you're in a hurry, grabbing a quick lunch at a bustling street corner counter. When we picture ancient Rome, we usually imagine emperors reclining on marble couches, casually eating grapes. But that luxurious setup was entirely foreign to the vast majority of the population. Most ordinary citizens lived in tight, crowded apartment blocks known as insulae. These buildings had a glaring architectural limitation. They lacked private kitchens, hearths, or any safe ventilation for a cooking fire. Without a place to cook at home, the urban working class had to look elsewhere to eat. Daily survival relied entirely on a massive, sprawling network of ancient fast food joints. That network was built around the thermopolium. For Rome's lower and middle classes, these lively storefronts functioned as their primary dining room. You'd spot them by distinct L-shaped masonry counters facing the street. Embedded directly into the stone were large terracotta jars called dolia, which operators used to store dried goods and keep large batches of food warm. The menu catered to a working budget. Customers could buy cheap wine diluted with water, freshly baked rounds of bread, and hearty, multi-ingredient stews made from cheap cuts of pork, fish, and land snails. To attract a busy and often illiterate clientele, the owners painted vibrant frescoes right on the front of the counters. These acted as visual menus, depicting the exact poultry and seafood available for purchase inside. Neighbors ate together here, exchanged gossip, and struck business deals. The thermopolia functioned as the central nervous system of Roman street life. Despite the massive gap in living conditions, one specific flavor profile linked the poorest street food patron to the wealthiest aristocrat: garum. Garum was a pungent, fermented fish sauce. Manufacturing it required industrial-scale operations. Builders constructed giant concrete vats on the coasts, keeping them far away from city centers because the stench of the production process was overwhelming. The biological mechanism is straightforward. Workers packed the vats with fish guts and salt, then left them in the hot Mediterranean sun. Over several months, enzymes broke the fish down into a highly concentrated, umami-rich liquid. But inside these vats, a rigid class divide emerged. The premium yield, a clear amber liquid known as garum sociorum, was carefully siphoned off the top and bottled exclusively for the ultra-wealthy. The working poor bought what was left. The thick, murky sludge of bones and fermented dregs settling at the bottom, called alec, was scraped out and sold as a cheap flavoring paste. Everyone in the empire consumed the exact same rotting fish. But their purchasing power dictated whether they enjoyed the delicate liquid at the top or the harsh sludge at the bottom. At the absolute top of the social ladder, the wealthy gathered in a private dining room, the triclinium, for an elite banquet called a convivium. Down on the street, food meant daily survival. Up here, it operated as a theatrical spectacle. The hosts used rare, exotic ingredients to demonstrate their total dominance over nature. Take the edible dormouse. The Romans developed highly specialized microfarming to rear them. They confined the animals in dark terracotta jars, called gliraria, to trick their bodies into hibernation, forcing them to gorge on nuts and maximize their body fat. During the banquet, hosts would actually bring out mechanical scales. They would physically weigh the fat, roasted rodents right in front of their dinner guests before serving them. Weighing the food provided a calculated, quantifiable metric of excess. It proved to everyone in the room that the host possessed immense wealth and political untouchability. Yet, for every patrician enjoying roasted songbirds and peacock eggs, thousands of common citizens lived on the brink of malnutrition. The military and the urban sub-elite survived on a monotonous, carbohydrate-heavy diet. They ate a basic spelt porridge called pulse, a handful of cheap vegetables, and dense, hard rations of bread like this preserved panis quadratus. For the vast majority of the empire, securing enough grain calories was a daily source of intense anxiety. They were locked completely out of the aristocracy's culinary playground. The Roman elite viewed the thermopolia with intense disdain. To aristocratic writers, the idea of free citizens, slaves, and laborers mixing together in a public eatery was a severe moral scandal. The entire food ecosystem engineered a specific dietary lane for every citizen and kept them firmly inside it. The Roman dinner table and the street food counter operated as pure reflections of the imperial hierarchy. 2,000 years have passed, yet we still use exclusivity, reservations, and dining spaces to signal our own rank. Using food as a weapon of social status is a deeply ingrained human trait.